Hey everyone. How many of you, is this your first time to WordCamp Los Angeles? Okay, first WordCamp ever. All right, that's fantastic. This is, I've been to quite a few WordCamps and it's a fantastic time to learn more about WordPress and get immersed into things and just understand how to better serve customers and understand WordPress, so welcome in. Last talk, I could say save the best for last, but I guess there's just been so much content. I'm just glad everybody stuck around. I'm competing against football opening day, so couldn't ask for more. But anyway, want to get into this topic about WooCommerce. Now, how many of you in this room actually work with clients helping them with WooCommerce? Raise your hand. Fantastic. And how many of you in this room actually run a WooCommerce store yourselves? Okay, gotcha. So as you know, I'm going to teach you every single tool possible to beat Amazon. So strap in. It's about to go down. So if you're fans of WordPress on any level, you understand that WooCommerce has sort of become the go-to shopping cart tool or shopping cart system for WordPress. And as it's rolled out, it's become more and more adopted, even acquired by Automatic. It was sometime last year that happened. And it's really become very popular. So when Matt Mullenweg had mentioned that Automatic had acquired WooThemes, now WooCommerce, he had shared this topic about the adoption of WooCommerce. And right in here, we could see that it's a staggering amount of adoption with small businesses using WooCommerce to run their online stores. And that's really a close number in comparison to overall adoption on WordPress as well. What is it? Around 25% of small business sites are running on WordPress now, which is absolutely staggering when you think about how many small business websites are running out there in the world on the internet. So it's just fascinating. And this is competing up against so many different systems and so many different mediums. So that's really, really impressive. So a little bit about me. As you mentioned, she said all of these words to begin with, so there's no need to repeat those. I will share a little bit personally about me. I am very conflicted at this moment because I'm a Cowboys fan and they're playing right now, so it's really hard to focus. Not really. I am a husband and I have 3 children, and I live in Phoenix, Arizona, born and raised. So all of my brain cells haven't been melted out completely by the heat, but I do enjoy Phoenix. So you're welcome to attend our WordCamp, which is happening in October 1st. Little plug there for the team, so maybe I'll see you there. But anyway, that's a little bit about me. Run an agency called ModeEffect, and we really enjoy working with WooCommerce and looking to help customers with WooCommerce. So moving on. Oh, actually, cheap little plug to follow me on Twitter. You can get my slides. It's pinned to my Twitter profile, actually. So if you follow me on Twitter, you can grab the slides. It's pinned right at the top. So little cheap plug to follow me on Twitter there. You don't have to follow if you don't want. Anyway, moving on. So the topic of the discussion here is about Amazon. So we're talking specifically about WooCommerce and rivaling Amazon. Now, realistically, if you are just rolling out your store, if your store is fairly new, you're not going to beat Amazon at its own game. So what we're really talking about is understanding Amazon as a competition to your store, and specifically understanding competition as a whole. Now, if you've got your store out online already, or if you're putting your store together, you probably understand the competition in your space somewhat. And when we, as store owners, as people working with store owners, we're coming alongside of our clients to help them understand how their competition is succeeding or how their competition is not doing well. So it's important to learn as much information as possible about our competition and really understand what the buying behaviors are there and what type of data we can find there. And there's really no limit to what can be helpful, but it's important to understand not only who our competition is, but get that information. Now, again, we're looking at Amazon as an example of one of the biggest e-commerce giant in the world. And we know that Amazon is serving so many different customers, so many different types of categories, but we can understand Amazon as really the standard of e-commerce, online sales and how they do things. 2015, 2016 is not done, but $107 billion ran through Amazon. I could say whether I feel good about it or not, there's probably very few weeks, months that an Amazon package is not on its way to my house. How many of you are willing to admit that as well? I mean, it's a part of our lives, right? I mean, we buy things online, and people who are launching stores, working with people to launch stores, we understand that behavior is not going anywhere anytime soon. So people are very comfortable doing business online. So that's no mystery. But the key here is to understand on a macro level what Amazon is doing, and then kind of filter it down on a micro level to understand exactly who we're serving in our, for our people we're trying to sell to and who we're working with on the client side. Now, as I mentioned before, we're not going to beat Amazon per se. We're not going to beat Amazon at their game. But we understand that if we're selling a product that's maybe featured on Amazon, that we can look at the information on these products and mine that data, mine that information to help it really take that information and have it help our customers to be able to lay out the information they have and make sure that we understand what type of behaviors that buyers have on the website. I met a guy named Milos, I think he's here. He had mentioned something that, how many tests are they actively running on their site at one point? In the hundreds?
Every day, 300.
300 tests. A/B tests, split tests on Amazon every day. 300 tests. It's a lot of data to find, even on a day-to-day basis, on a browser-to-browser basis. There's so much information we can find to understand what buyers are doing on the single product pages, the upsell pages, all of those things. It's really staggering. As an example, we see on Amazon, you can buy this. I'm not sponsoring this product, by the way. I literally just grabbed this. It's a wallet, basically. And we understand really all of the features, all the things that are laid out on the page. Right away, without scrolling, we can get right to finding out how many people have left reviews for it, answered questions. We all understand this view. But as I've worked with WooCommerce for some time, as I've been alongside the evolution of WooCommerce, it started to look a lot like this. This right here in e-commerce, this is our example of selling products to customers directly. So we understand that customers want to see all of this data. Not only do they want to see all this data, they want to make a choice very quickly. So I think if we're in this space of creating websites, specifically e-commerce websites for our customers, we can really understand this, but we need to help our customers understand why this data is important for their customers as well. Does that make sense? I mean, people want to be able to make these choices on the fly. They want to find things without even having to scroll. Just they want to see it. But specifically, again, macro level, this is not the de facto standard for every single product or service that's being sold for all of our customers or anything that's being sold on WooCommerce. But we could see how this would apply to the things that our customers are selling or what we're selling. So again, so much to learn here. Now, specifically on Amazon, these are the things that we can really take away from an experience looking at their single page, whether it's single page products or single page product view or a grid of products. We could see that there are buying behaviors that we could track. What other purchases are our customers making? Do they buy a wallet? Do they buy also a keychain with that? We could find all kinds of things. What are the common complaints? What are the things that people are often saying on a product page? And that really factors down not only to, if you're in this room or if you have a relationship with a product maker, you can even help on the side. I mean, product makers should really be paying attention to this anyway. I'm pretty sure that they do. But we can really be helpful in helping somebody really craft their business to better serve their customers, because all that data is right out in front of everybody. So we'll get to some examples of a couple of different companies that are very focused on just, certain or certain verticals. But we can just imagine it can be a little simpler in different verticals or different categories or different industries or whatnot, in how we really create a good product and make a good offering and make the buying experience as enjoyable as possible. Does that all make sense so far? Okay. So the key, as we're looking at a competition, finding on Amazon, looking at different stores, we're kind of tracking what buyers are doing. We want to create a strategy. We want to make sure that we know exactly what we're going to do. It's like when I step over to this area right here, I'm like getting hit directly with this light, so I got to stay over here a little bit. I think that was mildly amusing to myself, but maybe it didn't come off that way. But the key here is creating a strategy. I don't want to tell anybody in here that, let me teach you a lesson on how to create a strategy. That's really not where I'm coming from, but we understand that that's easier said than done, right? And again, creating a strategy is something that's an ongoing effort. You're not going to have a perfect strategy coming out of the gate. It has to be updated all the time. So the key here is that, we're taking the information that we look at and observe from competition and apply that to our strategy. Now, whether we've gone through the formal process of sitting with all of our stakeholders or partners, or the people that we're working with and writing that strategy all out, you got to start somewhere. We got to put together a strategy on who we're serving. Where are these buyers actually looking and comparing prices to products? Are they leaving a shopping cart abandoned? Are we giving them enough value with coming back and asking them to engage with us on some level? Those are the things that we have to write down, not only as a part of our strategy, but specifically with the goals we want our clients to achieve on creating their e-commerce store. Now, here are some keys to consider as well. We have to make sure that everything is brand aligned. Everything has to be very aligned with what our brand is out here to do. And again, I'll get to a couple of other short examples at the end of some retailers that are doing a good job of that. But brand alignment is very key, and also making sure that our store is doing something extremely great. Now, we're going to find less success in e-commerce by being a generalist and trying to serve everybody. It's never going to happen. If we can create one great experience, sell one great product or a few great products to an audience, and do a fantastic job of that, we can win. And again, what's most important is we create the strategy, we create the goals and write these out. I want to share these with the team. So this really applies to us as working with store owners, to sit with them and really help them create that strategy. Now, and that's easier said than done, right? If we're starting a relationship with a store owner, we're starting a relationship with a new client, you can't earn that trust with them to start giving them business advice right out of the gate. You kind of have to work up to that. So again, that's an ongoing process. It doesn't have to be done perfectly on the beginning, but it can be ongoing, and it can be something that you're looking to improve on. Does that make sense? Everybody tracking with me? Fantastic. All right, so looking at competition, creating a strategy, all of those go all together with creating a brand. And again, like I mentioned just a moment ago, being a generalist online store, selling tons and tons of products, I'm not saying that's a wrong approach completely, but you can imagine that it's hard to differentiate. It's hard to really stand apart from the whole e-commerce landscape in any type of industry. We want to really create a brand. We want to really create something that people can align with, people can identify with and become a fan of. So brand building is so important. So the key is, looking at Amazon is obviously the biggest example of this. We could see that we can create a very unique brand experience that specializes in the niche that Amazon isn't effectively serving in all cases. I used an example of one wallet they were selling. Well, I can't imagine that Amazon holds the card on selling a wallet, fill in the blank, or think of an example of a specific tactical wallet that's got a knife holder, a keychain, a compass, and a water bottle holder all in the same time. Not that you want to buy that product, but you can imagine it. You could come up with a very key product and a key audience that really could buy things like that would best Amazon if the brand was executed well. Does that kind of make sense? All right. So what's really important is with building a brand, obviously there's a bigger, longer discussion of building a brand. This isn't necessarily, I'm not meant to speak on brand building altogether, but what's really key with building a brand is, we want to ask one important question. When a customer, thinks about the store purchases, what's their experience like? What are the feelings that they have? And this talk is not meant to be technical. I'm not giving you a technical, all right. I'm not giving you a technical how-to on how to set up WooCommerce and how to, make sure that it scales just right. But there are very key things to think about when people come onto your website and have an experience. Now, in e-commerce, it's so important because speed is so key, right? How many of you want to hang on for 10 seconds on a website while it's loading into your cart, and then an additional 20 seconds while it processes whatever, how many products? You get where I'm going with this. I don't have all day. All day meaning 60 seconds to check out, right? That's really what it's come to, hasn't it? We really do not want to wait. I want the thing purchased in under 5 seconds. I want it at my door tomorrow. These are key aspects of the experience on your e-commerce website. Have to think about these. So, and it filters down technically and creatively to how do we lay things out. Again, going back to Amazon, looking at how that information is laid out on a single product page to understand what do customers need to see, what are they doing. This really goes all into how do we create the ideal experience, the best experience for building a brand. All right. So boiling all down to one statement and one thing to think about with building a brand, we want to look at it like this. For customers, we should say really on their side, their actions plus their emotions and feelings equal your brand. And that's a tough thing to swallow because however good of a job you're doing at that, it's really a gut check because some of our stores or some of the stores that we help clients build, we know it's not a great experience. But the good news is the internet is not written in unerasable ink. Well, unless you write a tweet that somebody doesn't like or whatnot, they can find that. But that's a whole other different talk. This is really something we can work at creating and getting better and better and better. So again, not to discourage anybody from launching, but it's something we need to work towards, right? It's not about having the most grandest and most excellent fully featured website ever on the first day of launch, but it's something we can work towards. It's something we can learn from, and we'll get to taking some customer feedback as we work through here. So when we're launching a store, specifically something small, something very focused, we do have that competitive advantage over a massive retail giant like Amazon. And we don't have to appeal to every single person buying every single type of thing in the entire universe. We really have an opportunity to target specific audiences and customers that we want to sell to, that we want to serve effectively. And that really goes, like we touched on just a minute ago, that really goes towards what we design our stores like, what we put on our stores, what we include on not only the aesthetics of the store, the user interface, but also how the store performs. the choices that we make on the brand, the layout, the color choices, they all really come together to make a great experience for our customers and make sure that they could stay on the site for some time and do what we want them to do. That's right, conversions. All right. So kind of backtracking from what we've done so far, looked at learning from our competitors, building a strategy, looking at what it would take to build a brand, or kind of thinking about building a great brand. So now I want to look at storytelling. And so with storytelling, we look at a site like Amazon. Amazon's not here to tell a story. It's like Costco. Essentially, it's like Costco on steroids. It's like Costco on steroids, essentially. I mean, you've got so many products and so many things out there. It's not about telling a story. But being a smaller retailer, being a smaller store, we have the opportunity to really lock in and tell a story and identify with a certain demographic of who we're wanting to sell to. And what's key with this is creating that story that somebody can identify with. Somebody that wants to invest in our brand, somebody that wants to be associated with products. Now, a lot of things come to mind. I mean, I've just thought, as I've been able to, thinking way back as I've been able to observe this, there are a lot of products that come out, like Apple's probably the best example of this in recent future about, we all get excited. I can't remember who we were talking with this weekend, but we're talking about how everybody says when the new iPhone comes out, it's like, oh, I'm not going to get the new iPhone, or you shouldn't get this iPhone. But what happens when the iPhone pre-order comes out? Every single website goes down because of the demand, because we want to be associated with this brand. And so that is the type of story we want to tell. We want to tell a story of solving a problem and making people's lives better. And that's really key to our online store. Now here's an example of a website called Saddleback Leather. Is anybody a customer of Saddleback Leather? I don't get any points for sharing this, by the way. It's not affiliate or anything, or they didn't put some money in my pocket to put this slide on. But Saddleback Leather is they're a smallish retailer. They sell, you guessed it, leather goods. And they've been around for some time. And so they're very specific about the type of products that they carry and that they sell and who they serve. So that all of that story is on their website. It's not, of course, if you're just really concerned about seeing a Saddleback ad on Google or wherever, you want to get there and just buy it, you can totally do that. But what's also on the website is you get to see a lot about their story and what they do and all the different examples of things that they're into. It's all there on the website. And you get to play a part in what they're building, and that's really key. From what it says on their website, they have a 100-year warranty, which that makes me feel pretty good as a buyer, especially as a first-time buyer, to make sure if something goes wrong, I've got that peace of mind that I could send it back. So again, there's so many things that within the storytelling that they're trying to get us as a potential customer in with. So Saddleback, a really great example of this. Here's another example, maybe a more known company, Warby Parker. Anybody a customer of Warby Parker in here? Yeah, I happen to be wearing some Warbys up here. Love them. And so, you guessed it, they carry one type of product, eyeglasses. So Warby Parker is another example of somebody who's telling a great story and being very specific about who they serve and what they do, and specifically how they do things different. So, you could take stock of what they do, see their products, get in and buy things just like on the Saddleback website, but their story is, and their visuals and all the things on their website are very much clear to the end user and to the customer that comes to their site, so that they can understand the differentiation between Warby Parker and the other people in that space, which is very competitive. So looking on the points we've touched on, we're learning from our competition. We're creating a strategy. I forgot the other point. Oh, we're creating a strategy. We're, creating a story that's resonate with our particular customers. And now we want to look at the opportunity we have as a small e-commerce store to be able to build relationships with our customers. So if you're working on the side of a store owner, if you are a store owner, or if you're working alongside of a store owner to launch something, there's an opportunity to, as we start, to get feedback and take that to heart from our customers, especially launching right off the bat. Amazon, again, looking back on Amazon as the example, they are not, they don't have the time to listen to everybody. Now, I'll admit, Amazon has pretty good service. Anything I've ever sent back to Amazon, every time I've gotten in touch with them, they've done a great job. But not so much with you? Okay. We can get the horror story later. Amazon, and actually I'm glad you brought that up, because Amazon, whether they hit or miss. It can be good. I just speak it from my experience. They've been good to me. But as a small store, in comparison, we can understand that there's a really great opportunity to look and focus on some of our customers and listen to their feedback and really understand why they came to buy. Understand what are some of the challenges that they had on their website. Now, we can run experiences on our website, we can run experiments on our website. We can look at Google Analytics. We can get very, very specific on whether somebody converted, whether somebody abandoned a cart or whatnot. But having a conversation, whether it's email, chat, or calling somebody on the phone, that can really be a game changer in an upstart online e-commerce business. So it's definitely important to listen to what they have to say and create a relationship with our customers. Now, again, that one-on-one interaction is just key if we do have the time to do that, especially on launch. And as we talked about with looking at storytelling, there are stories that we can get from our customers to be able to understand how they use these products, how they improved people's lives. I mean, there's so many opportunities with just selling products or even services. And I think we skipped over that a lot. This does not just apply to actual physical products. This does apply to services as well. If you have a website that you're selling, essentially maybe courses or whatnot, and it's all set up like an e-commerce store, you can really take this information and all these things and apply it directly to selling services as well. But it's important to really get those stories and get that feedback and allow it to really impact your business for the good. Now, whether that feedback is good or bad, it's important to know it so that we can become a better store. Now, in conclusion, we're looking at essentially competing with Amazon, but not really competing with Amazon. I tricked you. The title of this talk was really clickbait, so I got you all. I succeeded with getting you in here. Not really. So, as a small store, we understand we're able to be agile. We're able to make changes quickly. We're able to take customer feedback and be able to really apply it directly to our business at a quicker level that maybe somebody with a bigger store like Amazon would be. But again, we can really hone in on who we're serving and creating that ideal experience for somebody that we want to serve, and essentially, creating a story for a group of customers to be able to help them share that about our brand, and that could really make the difference about getting something out successfully, especially on launch, or getting something to be not only from launch but growing to that next level. So that's about it. I appreciate everybody sticking around.